reach out like that. And that's huge for you because you were in like you said, in a lovely home. But how has it been on the other side that you walked through that door? Tell us about your life now.
Well, we restarted actually our business with a focus on women in tech, and in helping address the structural, and based on my experience in tech for the last 30 years, we address the structural and the personal barriers that women experience in being having a vibrant career in technology, and so that's really taken off here. I had no idea when we moved here how perfect Denver was for that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in another place doing what we're doing. So
I love it.
It turned out to be perfect. Yeah.
So what strategies did you use to avoid like being paralyzed when it was time to pivot? So for those ladies or men out there listening, when they feel paralyzed, what strategies did you use to get through that? Because there are people out there that are maybe 60, our age, and they're feeling that restlessness within their spirit and they want to do something. How do you get over that hurdle?
Well, a lot of that has to do with my faith, and my faith in my worldview of that is that whisper of the heart. People often say they want to hear the voice of, God, their higher power, their divine leading, whatever that is. And so often we have these doubts in our head that actually drown out really what is, I think, a divine leading that says, I'm putting this in your heart for a reason. And I think that came, there was one other really big pivot. There was a job that I left. And I have to tell you this brief story because I think it's this lesson that helped me have the confidence to do this again. I was in a job for a brief time that turned out to be very much not as it was explained to me.
As you thought it
it was being a very tough time for my family as the job kind of worked itself out. And I had a devotional practice that I did every morning, and I could hear just as clear in my heart as I could hear you talking to me right now, that it said, Karen, you need to go resign. Well, I had been recruited for that job, and a lot of money had been paid to relocate my family. And the contract said, basically, if you leave the job before 3 years, you will have to pay all of that money back. It was well into the six figures number. Yeah. There was, and I went to my husband and I said, I just heard this so clearly. It says I need to go resign. And it was only 1 year into the job. And he looked at me and he goes, and then what? And I said, well, I don't have that part of the story. This is all I have. And he said, listen, he goes, if that's what you really believe you heard, then that's really what we have to do. And me having no idea how this was going to work out, I went in and I resigned.
Wow. And what a supportive husband to trust.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, to trust. Yeah, that's amazing.
And for him, that had to be like totally went against everything he believed in terms of providing security for the family. So it was a huge step of faith for him as well. As it turned out, all of that debt was forgiven. I had no idea that was going to happen.
Wow.
They helped me. They helped me with preparing for finding a new position, and I was almost immediately hired into a much better fitting role that was much better compensation actually for me. So the money issue was not even an issue. But none of that, I had no idea that was going to happen.
Right.
And so it has just, my experience is that when something is telling you, and you hear this that says, this is what you need to do, then you really need to hear that and listen to that, because that, to me, that's divine breadcrumbs.
Right.
And it's not going to necessarily show you the whole story. That's where faith and trust come in.
Right. Right.
And following that those are the pivots. Those are
Wow.
the big pivots.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what? We are almost out of time, which is unbelievable. So I am so glad Karen is coming back next week. But we're almost out of time. So why don't you tell our audience? I saw that you have a free gift, and so tell them how they can contact you, and tell them about your free gift. I'd love you to share that with them.
Oh, sure. I have a guide that I wrote. It's something we developed in our coaching program that we do for women, and it's called the Busy Woman's Guide to Your Leading Edge. And it has a lot to do with leaning into these pivots and finding the skills and the attributes that we need to develop and grow in order to help us take advantage of those things. So if people want to get in touch with me, they can send me, I can give them my personal email. That's Karen at KarenWorstell.com. If they send me an email there, then I will turn around and send them the PDF.
Oh, perfect. Now it's Worstell is spelled Worstell.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Karen. So Karen at KarenWorstell.com. So all one word, Karen,
Yeah.
Karen. Yep.
So if you would like the guide, it's a growing edge for a busy woman. We're all busy, but it's to do with pivot points. Is that correct again?
And it's for developing the attributes that we need in order to be able to take advantage of these pivots.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds terrific. Well, I want to thank you for coming in. I'm so glad that you're going to be back with us next week so we can dive in a little bit more. And I want all of the audience out there to realize that those pivot points in our life are significant times where we can change direction. And if we listen to our heart whispers, it's amazing what's beyond that door once we open it. And so I'd like to encourage you to listen to those whispers like Karen talks about. So if you have any questions about my show, and don't ever hesitate to email me at nevertoolateever.com. And in closing, Karen, I have one more question. What do you believe is the most single important character quality that produces resilience? Because you've had to have a lot of resilience. So what is one of those character qualities that produces that?
For me, it's optimism.
Optimism. I haven't had that one, but I love that one. Optimism.
I think, optimism is your total shield against falling into cynicism. It's the opposite of cynicism. And it is the thing that allows us to do some perspective taking, that allows us to look for the positive. I'm a huge believer that when we look for the good in things, then we will find them.
Right.
And the thing is if you look for the bad, you'll also find the bad and you'll miss the good.
Right. Exactly. We attract kind of what we put out, is my firm belief. Well, thank you, Karen, and I will see you back here next week. And for all of you out there, remember, it is never too late. It's never too late to lose weight. It is never too late to follow your dreams. It's never too late to pivot. And it's never too late to begin to be optimistic and believe that the best is yet to come. We will see you all back here next week. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. It's great talking with you.